Good morning, y'all. It is your host, Queen Blahma said it. And we are back, y'all, for day 125 of the Young Thug YSL RICO trial, y'all. Make sure you go ahead and smack that like button on the way in. I am going to turn this screen share on and we gonna hop right on in it, y'all.
Well, okay. Good morning, everyone. All right, was everybody able to get the transcripts that were forwarded by Miss Winfrey and by Miss Weaver? Okay. Great. And I don't know if y'all got word, Miss Love is a little bit delayed this morning. Mr. Atkins, are you able to point to where in the transcript supported Miss Love's argument on that objection?
Your Honor, I am currently not able to point to exactly where in the transcript supports the state's argument. I will be working on finding that, Your Honor.
Okay, or can you maybe communicate with Ms. Love? about
Yes, Your
it?
Honor.
Okay. Matters for the court's attention this morning.
I think it's part of this. I just want to continue my argument on my motion, that's all. But I assume it's within what you're doing.
What do you mean?
I assume it has to do with what you just asked, Mr. Atkins. So I think it's part of the same motion, but I have other statements that I'd like to make to the court. That the court to consider, that's all.
Okay.
I could do that now. I'm not trying to blindside Mr. Atkins, but.
Y'all, they getting everything set up.
8:30 email that I guess y'all all got says she'll be here momentarily. Not quite sure what momentarily means. But
Right, because it's yeah.
Your Honor, my latest update is they should be in the elevator as I'm
okay.
speaking.
Well, then we'll just give them a couple of minutes.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Let's hope she in the elevator, y'all. Court has started. Miss Love is not in the courtroom, you guys. She's running late today. We got a couple people with smiles on their faces. Mr.
Does
Young
anybody
Thug,
that needs it or wants it have the Zoom link?
I want it. Go and give it to me.
Should have been probably this morning. I think I can copy it and send it on that email that just got sent around if anybody needs it. Okay.
Your Honor, may I also be copied on that email?
Yeah, I'll just send it to everybody that's on the email
Thank you, Your
on
Honor.
behalf of Ms. Love.
Y'all, Young Thug looked like he had a long weekend. He looked tired. They all look kind of tired, for real. Even the judge. She don't look like she ready for it this morning. I think here come Miss Love. I think. Yep, there she is.
I don't even honestly know who all these people are. Some of them might be DA's office people. Good morning, Ms. Love.
Yeah, and I think that, one person, you know, we can find out exactly who.
Y'all might be getting an email from Ms. Pursfield with the same Zoom link as well.
Under a wholly unrelated matter,
Okay.
would you just consort on election day this year?
I'll consider it.
Thank you. That's all I ask.
There are 2 weeks of early voting though.
I volunteer at the polls. I could find someone to sit in for me, obviously, so it's not a major issue, but
Okay.
I just wanted to put that out there.
I appreciate that, but considering all of the early voting opportunities, including weekend voting, I don't know that I'm gonna cancel court for a day. I really would like for us to move as expeditiously as possible through this case. I don't think we want to be here this time next year doing the same thing.
I'm never one to argue against that, Your Honor.
Well, the district attorney setting up, can I follow up on that?
Sure.
My office should have sent your honorable court an email about, I believe it's the same day, November 5 is election day. I was given the honor of arguing a case before the Honorable Supreme Court of Georgia, at Georgia State University that morning. So I have to clear it with your honorable court, but I just want to, I have to let the court know.
Okay. I'll let y'all know. I haven't seen that email yet, but I'm sure it will get forwarded.
It was sent to Ms. Persifield, but we could, and Ms. Ross.
I'm sure that they'll send it on to me. You may.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, it's fine. I just was sending out the Zoom link to, on the email that your, I guess, assistant had sent. It's fine. I don't need to know. I appreciate it though.
I believe that we were awaiting a transcript, and if I got that this weekend, my apologies to the court because I was under the weather. Reflected exactly what it was that I said in response to a particular exhibit.
Okay, well, that is in the transcript that I think Miss Persifield forwarded on Sunday afternoon. I can
Thank you.
read it out.
I haven't. If the court would
It's
permit me.
pretty close to what my memory of it was, actually. You say, Your Honor, but there is a difference that matters. It's a distinction with a difference because what Mr. Steele was putting up is a picture of Defendant Williams with a young man whom evidence has come out did not associate with Defendant Williams after a particular time. So can you point the court and defense counsel to the portions, and I know we don't have Detective Dennis's transcript yet, but we have the transcript from Mr. Donovan Sr. You should have gotten that forwarded from Ms. Weaver. Have you had an opportunity to look at it yet? Okay.
Good morning, y'all. Happy Monday, September the 9th, day 125 of the Young Thug RICO trial.
And while we are looking for more specific language, I just want to point out to the court that to the extent that the objection is made that there was a comment on the evidence or the evidence saying a particular thing, two things as it relates to what I said. I intentionally did not speak a particular name for multiple reasons. And I was particularly vague for multiple reasons. But the objection that I had was that Mr. Steele asserted through his language that that particular flyer was introduced in 2015. And that was put forth before the jury more than once.
Right.
And Mr. Sledge agreed with that. And Mr. Steele then put forth a flyer that he said would have chronologically come after that flyer that I had the objection to. And that flyer that he put up was one from December 2014. So this is not a circumstance where I testified. I alluded to, I made reference to something that I believe existed. I did not comment on, what that evidence was or make a comment on the evidence. But unlike a circumstance where a lawyer would say, that didn't happen to a question being asked, I simply said the evidence, there's been evidence. I didn't say what evidence. I didn't comment on a particular piece of evidence. And so in as much as my statement to the court was intended to orient the court and to apprise the court of why I was making the objection without speaking too much about it, I would ask the court to overrule Mr. Steele's objection to my objection and deny any motion that he made as a result of it. But we are still, at the court's direction, looking for the language that led us to be where, led me to make the statement that I made.
Understood. And Mr. Steele, looking back, and you, when we were talking about it Friday, you said you weren't sure that you had said 2015, but looking back on page 10, before the objection by Ms. Love, you do say 20, I mean, you don't say, but you're asking, is that 2015? And the witness agrees, and apparently everybody knew it was 2014, so.
May I speak?
Sure.
So I agree. I misspoke. I did not do it intentionally, but that's for the court to determine. And Ms. Love, I hope you feel better.
Thank you, sir.
My issue goes to three things, really. And the reason, and thank you for allowing me not to ask the jurors to be removed. I don't remember the time, but it was close to 5 and appropriate.
Sure.
But I appreciate you allowing that to happen and that it's still preserved. My issue, though, is this. I definitely misspoke. I watched the Law and Order or whatever, Law and Crime, and then I got the transcript later. And I apologize. All that has to be said is, where's the date on it? Ms. Love said that, or are you certain, or do it on redirect? And then I corrected it because I said this is in date order. And then I went back to the next flyer is the same band, same group performing, and it's December 31, 2014, going into January 1, 2015. I wanted to correct it. I didn't realize at the time I said 15. It just, I wasn't focused properly, I guess. But for a lawyer to then say, and the evidence has shown, that was my issue.
Yeah, I understand what your motion addresses.
And this is easy to figure out because I can't get these Twitters anymore. They're gone. They won't. I tried to subpoena them. I can't get them. But the state, through Agent Racy, he's a Cobb County, he's now with ATF, but he was with Cobb County. He got I don't know why, but just a certain amount of time from middle of 2014 to the middle of 2015. Got a year. All these are dated. The reason that these aren't dated I put in is because previously the state had an objection to any writing on it. But everybody has the date. It was December 26, 2014, and December 31 going into January 1, 2014, 15. But my problem is we can't be making any lawyer what the evidence is until a closing argument, and the evidence is not closed yet. So that's my big problem. And I will say this. The state gave us an email. If they don't remember it, I could put in evidence for it, just for the record. On Friday, August 9th, 2024, at 5:22 p.m., Your Honorable Court is CC'd through the Honorable Miss Persifield, and it gives the list of people who are going to be testifying. That's wrong. That's the wrong date. I gave the wrong date. I'm looking at the wrong date. I'm sorry. This was given the way it used to happen. I don't know if it still is, but Ms. Hilton would give a list every Friday to the media and then to us of who the next witnesses are, and certain witnesses, for whatever reason, couldn't be shown.
Right.
So they were undercover agent or something like that. And then there were objections there too. But on the media list of 5/10/24, so it's May 10, 2024, the state had Detective Racy, which is RAISSI, by the way. He's now Agent Racy. And then followed by this performer, Mr. Lamar. His first name is DEQUANTES. And he goes by Rich Homie QUAN. And that came to everyone via email from Ms. Hilton. That's May 2024. So my point is the state had him on a short list. He's already under subpoena. And I assume the state knows this because they didn't call him But on March 23rd, 2015, Mr. Lamar or Rich Homie Quan, and this is all public, he said, I'm still affiliated with Rich Gang, with them. I'm talking about Rich Gang.
I'm gonna pause it for a second. R.I.P. Rich Homie Quan. Rest in peace. I was wondering if he was involved in the trial, if he was gonna be brought up, like what was gonna happen. Now they're talking to him, talking about him Monday, September the 9th. I believe, I don't even want to put a date on it. I think it was Friday that I received a message saying that Rich Homie Quan allegedly passed away from an OD. Let me see if I can see real quick, y'all. Thursday, September the 5th, I received a message saying Rich Homie Quan allegedly passed away from an OD. Now, Monday, they're talking about him during the trial. Um, do you think that he was maybe summoned, that he knew he was maybe going to have to come and testify? Has he already testified within this 125 days? I don't know, y'all. I'm going to push play.
In an interview that was with Thesis, THISIS 50, in an interview with ESPN on April 20th, 2015, and 2015 is right after the January 2015 death of Mr. Thomas. Mr. Lamar reaffirms that Mr. Williams will always be his, and I'm quoting it, brother. And with Vlad, VLAD TV, Mr. Lamar talks about Mr. Williams on April 21, 2015, wishing Mr. Williams the best. In an interview, he states that he and Jeffery have no, or excuse me, Mr. Williams have no, quote, bad blood. That's May 16, 2022. September 18, 2022. He talks about that they get along. In an interview with Cam Newton, August 15, 2022. He details how he's a fan of Mr. Williams' work even before they met, and he emphasizes that he and Mr. Williams never had a problem. And it goes on. He has other interviews here. The point I'm trying to make is I contest that there was this supposed eruption and they don't get along. So the state put up Mr. Donovan Thomas Sr., they said last week to this honorable court, to make this claim. They don't put up the actual people involved, and I'm going to put up, if I need to, I know I don't have to put up a case, but if I need to, I'm going to put up people who observed the two of them together, the people who interviewed him. I know I'm going to get objections to hearsay, but the point I'm trying to make is to say that I said the wrong date doesn't need this additional. That falls on the exact same platform as with the same witness last week. District Attorney Love read a plea colloquy in an unrelated Alford plea. I don't know how that happened. That's from Mr. Sledge. And then I believe, and it's not a violation because I try to speak with every witness. If they won't speak, that's fine. But at that June 9th, 2024 meeting at Starbucks in Fayetteville, there was clearly Brady evidence. Now, some of it was given to us. The Brady evidence that was given was what I originally said. It was August 9, 2024.
So, Your Honor, if we could deal with one issue at a time, I don't have any problem addressing each of them. I would ask the court's indulgence to allow me to address each one in turn because I've heard about 4 so far, and we're on to Brady evidence at Mr. Sledge's interview, which is entirely different than the exhibit Mr. Steele put up that we were addressing.
All right, well, we were trying to give you time to find the portion of the testimony to support what you said on Friday. I think Mr. Steele's just outlining what his other issues are going to be.
Because I'm going to have to address each of those, and I do have a response to each of those, I was trying to listen and to take note.
All right, we have 2 other people sitting at council table with you. I'm sure they're equally capable of running a word search and a transcript. Go ahead, Mr. Steele.
It's just that, at this meeting, it comes out that Jeffrey Williams is with Mr. Donovan Thomas days before he's killed, according to Mr. Sledge. I have other evidence that puts them together, but that's the contested part. It's not really Rich Homie Quan, it's Mr. Thomas, Donovan Thomas. And what the state's trying to say is that, for the court's edification, I believe this is what they're saying. Mr. Thomas is trying to be the manager of Rich Homie Quan. Mr. Thomas doesn't want Rich Homie Quan to sign with a man named Mr. Brian Williams, who's Birdman. Jeffrey Williams is not signed with Brian Williams, Birdman. And somehow Jeffrey Williams doesn't like the fact that Donovan Thomas won't let Rich Homie Quan sign with an independent person.
Mhm.
So Jeffrey Williams has him killed. The jurors may adopt that. But when Mr. Sledge tells District Attorney Love on June 9, 2024, that Jeffrey Williams and Donovan Thomas were outside, and I thought it was TIG, but TI's studio, he's a performer he's a wonderful performer named Clifford Harris in Atlanta.
Mhm.
And they're having a good time. That's Brady evidence. And I never got that. Now I did get it. I don't want to, there's no violation. I'm making it clear. I got it from Mr. Sledge and Mr. Wright. But we should have gotten it from the DA as well, because they didn't know. I assume they didn't know that I got it from other people, and I don't think Mr. Matthews got it. I didn't share with him anyway, so that's Brady evidence for him too, because it's part of the state's case. Those are my issues. It just, that's one witness last week, and it's the objection, it's the Brady, and it's the reading of a transcript. It's just a lot to deal with, and that's it. My objection, I asked for a mistrial. I'm God willing honest with everyone, but I don't want a mistrial, but I don't know what to do. So those
Okay.
are my issues.
All right, thank you.
And I do apologize for the speaking, and hopefully I cleared it up.
I mean, it happens. I don't find any purposeful action on your part in saying the wrong year. But
Thank you, Your Honor, for allowing me the opportunity to speak. I apologize to the court in advance. My voice is a little lacking today, but as we are bringing up things and patterns, I want to bring to the court's attention a couple of things that the court would not have knowledge of, as the court could not have been present when it occurred. I've read the portion of the transcript where
All right, y'all. So first thing Monday morning, we have TIP, Tip, the rapper has been mentioned, and Rich Homie Quan has been mentioned, and some other rappers that I don't really recognize their names.
said, as it relates to a young man in the picture, I believe evidence has come out that, and I want to read it exactly as I said it.
well, I mean, I already read it out once.
Mr. Steele was putting up is a picture of a defendant Williams with a young man whom evidence has come out did not associate with defendant Williams after a particular time. So there have been instances during this trial with other witnesses, much like the way that Mr. Steele is alluding to instances that the state has brought up. I'm bringing this up for a reason, if the court would give me an indulgence, where the state has asked a witness a question. For instance, did Mr. Steele ask you to, did Mr. Steele stop the recording while you were talking? And Mr. Steele literally verbally stood up and said, that didn't happen. That did not happen. See right there. And so giving testimony during trial, I did make an objection to that. That was addressed. That, in my estimation, is wholly different. And that is the kind of thing that it would appear Mr. Steele is sort of alluding to the state having done now, and it's not. I did not state anything about the weight of the evidence. I said vaguely as I could, I believe this has come out. the jury will know. My objection was intended to inform the court as to why I made that objection. I will point the court's attention, since Mr. Steele has brought up these interviews he's talking about, to the discovery we did provide.
You know what? He admits there's not a violation. So have you found the portion of the transcript that you say supports your assertion that evidence has come out that whatever?
Since I didn't name a person,
I understand, but then you said to me
I did.
afterwards, outside the presence of the jury, I've got a basis for saying that.
And I did.
Okay.
During the examination of Donovan Thomas Sr. by Miss Hilton, she asked whether or not Mr. Thomas Sr. ever saw this person, this gentleman that I was referring to, and Defendant Williams perform again after December 2014.
Okay.
He said no. That was the evidence. That is the reason that I said that evidence has come out that these people didn't associate after a particular time. I intentionally did not want to speak on, state in my place that unlike interviews and all of that, we've had interviews by people other than counsel in the courtroom. We've actually had interviews where we have had investigators told that after the murder of Donovan Thomas, that this gentleman and Defendant Williams did not speak again, period. After they saw each other in Miami following the murder of Donovan Thomas Jr., a question was asked, where is Woody? Defendant Williams told this person, Woody was in Atlanta. This person looked over and saw Woody on a turntable or something in that same club, and this person walked away and did not say another word to him afterwards. The point that I'm making is that when I see an assertion by counsel that there has been something, a concert by the two of them in December 2015, and the statement wasn't made, it's a leading question, so it's essentially a statement wasn't made once, it was made more than once. And then the witness adopted it and said, yeah, it was in 2015.
All right, so
I don't
I
know any
think
other
I
way to
see the
correct
portion of the transcript that you might be referencing. It is on page 45 of the rough of Mr. Donovan Thomas Sr.'s testimony. There's a question about a video shoot in Birdman. After this video shoot, to your knowledge, did your son ever promote anything dealing with Jeffery Williams? The answer, after the Fulton Industrial video shoot, no. Is that what you're talking about? Or is it something else?
think it
Because
was
it would
more
be nice if
specific.
y'all could point me to the part of the transcript. But you know what? Regardless, I think that the issue and the reason that Mr. Steele made the motion is because you said in front of the jury, and I hear you saying Mr. Steele did the same thing, which honestly, y'all, neither of you, that if it is improper, the fact that the other person is doing it doesn't make it less improper. Two wrongs don't make a right. Y'all are familiar with that. But I understand that you were trying to correct the misstatement about the date and essentially say, you know, it's not possible. The better way to have done that would probably have been to say, can we approach and call to Mr. Steele and the court's attention why it is that what he was saying about 2015 wasn't possible. So I don't think that it is anything that is serious enough to warrant a mistrial. But for both of y'all, for everybody, if something like that comes out and you think for whatever reason that we'll deal with it up at the bench, okay?
Your Honor, there is a,
Can I get everybody's okay on that?
absolutely.
All right, great. Go ahead.
Thank you. There is an issue that I have experienced. I have made an objection, and when I hear an objection, if the objection is made to my question, I pause.
Yeah,
But that does not happen. And so if when I object, a person continues to talk and improper information is being put before the jury, I don't know what else to do.
Okay.
If that,
I'll address that. So I noticed that as well. Everybody, when you hear the word objection, stop talking and let me hear what the objection is. And then sometimes I will still need to hear the entirety of the question because I won't know whether the objection is meritorious or not, because I'll need to hear the rest of the question. But not always. So just stop what you're saying. Let me hear the objection. And then if I need you to tell me the whole rest of the question or whatever it was you were saying, I will let you know that. And then you can, and then I'll make a ruling. Can we operate like that from now on as well? Great. Okay. We ready for the jury now? You need a minute? Yeah. Okay. Sure. We'll take just a minute. Yes, just, we're early on, but does anybody else need to step out? Do we need, like, with regard to the defendants? Yes? Okay. Everybody go to the bathroom. Come back, let's get going. Okay, that's fine. Good morning, Mr. Sledge.
On. Yeah.
tell her, say if it's down in her halfway in the bridge.
All right, thank you very much. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I hope y'all all had a very nice weekend. Mr. Steele, I believe you were finishing up your examination of this witness.
Your Honor, may I approach Mr. Sledge?
You may.
Mr. Sledge, may I approach you?
Yes, sir.
I'm showing you what I've marked as Mr. Williams or JW 255. If you take a peek at this for me, tell me whether you recognize that item. In the same condition, have you seen it prior to, 2024, 2023, going back? Is it the same condition?
Yes.
Any alterations or changes to it that you can tell?
No, not allowed to see.
Your Honor, I move for the admission of Mr. Williams 255.
It's admitted.
May Mr. Kokomo display it, Your Honor?
Yes.
It should come up on your screen, but it should be the same exact thing. You could check it. That's in front of you, okay?
Yes.
And if Mr. Kokomo can blow that up at all, and if not, that's fine. So this is exhibit number at the very top, Mr. Kokomo, if you just show, you see where it says exhibit or EXH number JW, Jeffrey Williams 253? I believe it's 255, but. me see if I can. All right, you see at the very top, 255?
Yes,
Okay, and then if Mr. Kokomo can just center so all the words can be seen on the actual writing. Do you recognize this as a social media posting? And do you see the date?
yes,
And it's from DMAC, got me to TOO, banging at DMAC to banging. You see it says December 27, 2014.
yes,
And does it read then, and I'm changing it just because that's how I am. A.N. lie to their mama, brother, sister, and kids, but get to the courtroom and tell the God's honest truth, 3 question marks. I don't get it. And then hyphen at Young Thug. Do you see that?
yes,
All right, did I read that fairly accurate? I know it wasn't perfectly accurate, but fairly accurate.
yes,
All right. And is that similar to what has been marked and played in states number 447Y, where you started out with, I'm going to, and this may not be exact quote, but something like, I'm going to swear to tell the truth. I'm going to lie on God. You remember that?
yes.
All right. Can you tell the jurors what it means, if you know, when it says at the end of it, the hyphen at Young Thug?
Before it,
Can
I
you,
don't,
can you explain that to the jury?
I don't get it.
Yeah, right after that.
At Young Thugger Thugger. I mean, Young Thug, I'm sorry.
Yes, do you see that?
Yes.
Do you know, and if you don't know, just say, I'm not sure. Do you know what that means?
No, I don't
That's
know
fine.
exactly what it means.
Okay, and this one goes back, if you remember, and if you don't, we can show it to you. But do you remember what the state used on January 26, 2015, said repost? You remember that?
The repost whiz.
Yes.
Yes,
Okay, and then you showed the jury the January 4th, 2015 video, same video, Jeffrey Williams, remember that?
yes,
And this one is approximately a week before January 4th, 2015, right?
yes,
December 27, 2014.
yes,
And prior to this, prior to 2014 and 2013, 12, going back, have you heard the same type of statement?
yes.
All right. Now, did anyone from the police department or the district attorney's office, and I'm saying after you entered a plea, so this is December 28th, 2022, okay?
Yes,
After that, so coming forward,
yes,
did anyone from the district attorney's office or one of their teammates, police, whomever, did they ever ask you?
Objection. Relevance as to what anyone else ever asked this witness. If Mr. Steele wants to ask something, he can.
What's the relevance?
Ask about the evidence of the reposting? They showed the gentleman the evidence?
Your Honor, my
Know if
objection,
anybody, I want to know if anybody ever went over with him that it's a repost?
Your Honor,
Sustained.
Did, at your meeting, we'll just do it on June 9th, 2024, at the Fayetteville Starbucks?
yes,
Did District Attorney Love ever ask you
Objection.
about,
objection,
Objection.
yes.
Sustained.
did State's Exhibit number 447Y, the repost, January 26, 2015, was that ever discussed with you?
Objection, Your Honor.
Sustained.
Where it says on the January 4th, 2015 video, and if you need to see it, I'll show it to you. Do you know what I'm talking about?
yes,
Okay, where you read to the jurors that Mr. Martinez or Duke said it first?
yes,
Remember that? Okay. Did you ever explain to anyone about Mr.
Objection,
Martinez
Your Honor.
saying it
That would be
first?
hearsay.
He's right here.
Explaining outside the court, it would be relevance and objection.
Sustained.
All right. Now, District Attorney Love asked you on your direct examination why you didn't go to the police on the morning of January 11, 2015, when you dropped off Mr. Copeland at the City of Atlanta Police Department homicide. Do you remember that question?
Yes,
All right. And you were aware that the police called Mr. Copeland
yes,
that night, and then Mr. Copeland went down to see the police, right?
yes,
Did the police call you and tell you that you were the prime suspect?
No.
Objection to the compound question.
Overruled.
no,
You were asked questions about the music company or business YSL, direct deposits. Do you remember that, working for them,
yes,
working for Mr. Williams? You remember all those questions?
yes,
All right. Do you personally know, do you personally observe, does that music business have lawyers working for them? If you know, if you don't know, just say, I don't know.
I don't know.
All right. Do they have accountants?
Yes, I think they have accountants though. I know that.
How about managers?
Yes.
Objection, Your Honor, vague as to managers.
Overruled.
Yes,
Now, you were asked a lot of questions also about what you explained to the jury, that anybody can claim YSL. Do you remember all those questions?
yes,
There was no beating in, there was no initiation fee. Remember those type of issues?
no, never have. That you never have to get beat in or however.
Doing that, does that mean that they're with the record company? YSL?
Objection, vague by doing that. I don't know.
Overruled.
Now, you mentioned yesterday meeting with Jeffrey and Mr. Brian Birdman Williams and yourself and Mr. Donovan Thomas and others, I'm not excluding others, shortly before, God forbid, Mr. Thomas was, days before he was killed on January 10, 2015 at TI Studios. You remember that testimony?
Yes,
Is TI the performer TI that you're talking about?
yes.
Do you know his real name?
Something Harris. That's how I know. I know his last name Harris.
Mr. Harris?
Yes,
And is he a phenomenal, well-known, accomplished artist?
Objection, Your Honor.
Stayed.
You were asked about the definition of snitching. Do you remember that?
I don't remember asking me that.
All right. Do you remember saying in the video 447Y snitching, and I'm not going to say, but BIT blank 8?
Yes.
Okay. And tell the jury what snitching means.
To me, my definition of snitching is another person lying on another person.
Now, on from December 28, 2022, I'm using that date because that's the date that you were released from custody on this case. That's the
Yeah.
date of your guilty plea, okay?
Yes,
All the way through today, but including Sunday, June 9th, 2024, when you met at the Fayetteville Starbucks,
yes,
the district attorney and your lawyer and the investigator. Did anybody go over with you what's been gone over with you in court, the plea agreement?
no,
You told the jury that Jeffrey idolizes Lil Wayne or Mr. Dwayne Carter. Do you remember that testimony?
yes,
Did you ever hear, are you familiar with Lil Wayne's work? His music, his influence?
yeah, I'm familiar with his music.
Have you ever heard him use the word slime, the term slime?
Yes,
Was that before you ever heard anyone say it, or was it after?
I had not heard it said before, but he's like one of the first artists I heard say.
He being who?
Wine, the wine.
Okay. Your Honor, I don't have any other questions.
All right. Brad.
Good morning, Mr. Sledge.
Good morning.
My name is Doug Weinstein, and I'm Diamante Kendrick's attorney.
Yes,
May I approach you and show you something?
yes.
Thank you.
Who is Diamante, y'all?
I'd like you to just take a look at this video.
I thought Young Thug was Jeffrey Williams. So Diamante might be that little dude that's sitting over there.
Yes, Tyrone here.
Testimony about it.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Excuse me.
It's another dark-skinned guy sitting over here also. I think he's sitting next to this man. I don't know. It's a couple different people sitting over here, so that might be one of them.
Do you recognize that
Yes,
player?
yes,
Do you recognize the action that he performed?
yes.
Okay. Your Honor, I'm moving to admit Kendrick 1.
I object on the basis of relevance and foundation, and if we need to approach so that Mr. Weinstein can show the court what it
Well,
is.
Yeah, I haven't seen it, so.
Okay.
Oh, we haven't given out our.
I need to step out. Okay.
All right, y'all. So it's muted. They have approached the judge, and I think they're gonna watch that little video that dude. Yeah, he cloned up there with the laptop, so they're gonna look at it and make sure that it has some relevance. What are they doing? Oh, I think they unhooking their microphone things and stuff. I think. Is that what they're doing? Yeah, the police officers are collecting all the little microphones while they watch whatever this video is. Yeah. Good morning, Pure. Good morning, everyone else that's in here, you guys. They have muted the courtroom, so we can't hear what's being played on that laptop right now. We might hear it in a little bit if the judge lets it be admitted. The officers took all the little recorder microphone things, so nobody can secretly record what's being played on that laptop. We just waiting. Good morning, Mysterious. Good morning, all my beautiful, beautiful peoples. I couldn't wait till Monday, y'all. I was talking about this trial to my husband yesterday, all weekend, honestly. I'm like, I can't wait till Monday for the trial to start back. Shoot. I got my little water and everything, y'all. I know they like, what in the world? She ain't doing no reactions. Oh no. We are watching the Young Thug trial. I can't believe a day 125 already, y'all. I promise if they don't get a mistrial, it's probably gonna go to day 250. I just feel it. And the judge earlier said something about we don't want to be here still in November, but it's gonna go. It's gonna go, y'all. We might still be doing this dang on Young Thug trial in January. I can't believe freaking Antonio Sledge is still on the stand. I just knew like he was gonna be done. He's still on the stand again, y'all. Back this morning. At it. He ain't even got his bottle of water this morning. Y'all know he's tired and over it. They all just look kind of tired this morning. They had a long week, a long weekend, long everything. Okay, y'all, I'ma go through it. This is from this morning, but I started a little bit late, so I just went all the way back to the beginning. It be so the what is his name? DeMonte, that might be him right there. Cause where did dude was sitting right here, I think. So it might be him. Actually, whatever his name is. So are all of these people on trial also with Thug? Or what exactly is going on? I don't know. Let me. They still up there watching that video. Well, they done watching it. They talking about it now. I think they almost done talking. Here we go. We are finitoed. Let's see. Recorders given back. She has her recorder back. Gonna sit it back down. Microphone is back on, y'all. Y'all make that hit that like button. She got a squeaker in her chair. What in the world? I was wondering what that squeaky noise was before. It's her chair, y'all. I wonder if them chairs are comfortable.
Sustain on the foundation, but you can see if you can lay further foundation.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Sledge, I have a few more questions about that video that I showed you.
Yes,
Have you seen that video of that player before?
I know who the player are.
Have you seen him doing this particular thing? Have you seen that clip before that I showed you?
I don't recall seeing the clip, but I just seen it when you just showed it to me.
Did you watch the game yesterday?
I didn't watch Miami game yesterday.
Okay, I'll move on.
All right.
I'm going to show you something else, all right?
Yes,
May I approach?
You may.
Is you gonna let us see, mister? Child, y'all done did a whole lot with this dang on video. Now I want to see what's being saw. Yeah, the jurors. Oh my gosh.
You see this photograph?
yes.
Oh
Have you
God.
seen that photograph before?
No, not to the day.
Okay. And I will not be asking you questions about that photograph.
Right.
December 28th, 2022, going back to that date, where did you wake up in the morning?
At Fulton County Jail.
And where did you wake up on January 1st, 2023, New Year's Day?
And at home?
At your home,
Yes,
in your own bed.
yes,
And you signed that plea deal that we've already talked about.
yes,
And you initialed all those eight in there, right?
yes,
And you would have initialed anything to get out of jail on that day, correct?
yes.
If they would have asked you if you could say that YSL did
Objection
not kill
calls for
Tupac,
speculation.
What's the question?
if they had asked you,
Objection
If
to
you-
if they had asked you, just nothing else beyond that, Your Honor, because it's speculation.
Sustained.
but again, you signed and initialed all of that, and you would have signed and initialed anything to get
Objection.
out of Rice Street,
Sustained.
correct?
asked and answered.
Same.
No more questions.
All right. I think nobody else had cross, is that right? Is that still the case? Okay. All right, is there redirect?
There is, Your Honor.
All right.
Mr. Sledge, you were asked quite a few things by Mr. Steele on Friday regarding what was and what was not asked of you at the time that you entered your plea agreement with the state. Do you recall that?
Yes.
Your Honor, just
Yes.
to satisfy the rule of completeness, the state tenders State's Exhibit 444Y, the entire plea agreement, or States 1AS, which was admitted for a different purpose at a
All
different
right.
time.
Any objection?
This lady she don't need to wear no damn dress no more. Like, I am not playing. I'm so tired of her spinning around and gapping her legs open like she don't know she got a dress on. I'm sick of it.
Okay.
She too grown for that.
Your Honor, I would object to further commentary unless we need to approach. I'm tendering the exhibit.
I understand. He's not commenting. He's stating what his objection is because I asked him to. I think we might need to approach to resolve it though.
Approach again. Oh my gosh. Here we go. Y'all gonna get some more commentary. They are approaching again. I didn't even see the officers come out and hand everybody their recorders back. No one paying no attention. What is those his Nike draws showing? What is your theme song? They're approaching again, you guys. Here we go. They have muted the mics once again. We don't get to hear what they talking about. So I'm gonna just go through it. Let's just keep it moving, keep it moving. Yeah, so that's got to be the DeMonte or whatever he said that dude name was. Oh yeah, they was up there talking for too dang long. Ooh, wait, it's gonna be another long day, y'all. Mm-mm. Okay, gave her recorder back now.
All right, let's get Mr. Sledge back, please.
Thank you, Judge.
Oh, he got him some cute little socks on. I see you, sir. Little socks in his tie. Okay, yeah. Mr. Sledge, welcome back.
All right, go ahead, Ms. Love.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Hell no.
Mr. Sledge, on cross-examination just now, I believe it was by Mr. Weinstein. Forgive me if it was by someone else. Were you asked the question whether anyone ever went over the plea agreement with you between December 28, 2022, when you signed the document that is states 444Y and states 1AS, and today? Were you asked that question on cross-examination by?
I don't know. I don't think Mr. Steele asked me that. He asked me something about June the 9th. So I don't know if Weinstein just asked me that question either.
All right. Did Mr. Steele ask you on cross-examination whether anyone went over that document that you signed on December 28, 2022 with you at the June 2024, I believe it was, meeting between you, your attorney, investigator Lancico, and me in Fayette County? Did Mr. Steele ask you that?
I think that was the question was.
And was your answer no?
Yeah,
one
cause
did?
no, yes,
At that point, had the document already been signed in its entirety? Had you already signed everything you need
oh,
to
yes,
sign?
yes.
On cross-examination last week, you were asked about hiring an attorney for the purposes of this case. And let me actually back up and ask you this. You were asked a few questions about what was going on at the time that you signed this plea agreement on December 28th, 2022. Do you recall that?
Yes,
All right. Do you recall being in a courtroom here in Fulton County on the date that you signed that plea agreement on December 28th, 2022?
I don't think I was in the courtroom. I think I was in the tank in the back when I signed.
Okay. Were you in a courtroom when you acknowledged under oath that everything that you signed was true?
Yes,
Did Mr. Steele, Mr. Shart, or any of your other friends' attorneys ask you on cross-examination?
Defendants at the same time.
Did you
Indictment
tell the
was
jury
written.
that you loved Mr.
22
Steele,
plea
you
deals.
loved Shannon?
Wow.
yes,
Did you tell the jury that you love Defendant Williams?
yes.
Lord.
And Mr. Stillwell and Mr.
I do remember it
Mr.
being a lot.
Sharp and Mr. Williams, they represent people that you love, correct?
Yes,
All right. So on cross-examination by lawyers for one of the people that you love in this courtroom, were you asked about your conditions prior to signing the plea agreement that you signed on December 28th, 2022?
could you repeat that?
Yes. On cross-examination last week, do you recall being asked about conditions you endured before signing the plea agreement that you signed on December 28th, 2022?
Yes,
Do you recall being asked if you felt pressure to sign that plea?
I think so.
Do you recall being asked whether you felt intimidated to sign that plea agreement?
I don't recall that one.
I'll ask you, were you intimidated by the state into signing that plea agreement?
Was I intimidated?
Were you intimidated?
I wouldn't say I was intimidated. I was basically like, I just feel like it was forced on me at the time. I wasn't intimidated by it.
It was forced on you. We're going to come back to that word force, okay?
Yeah.
Do you recall on direct examination when I was asking you questions, do you recall you first mentioning something about the fact that your mom, unfortunately, had become ill. Do you remember that?
Yes.
Do you recall telling me not to speak on her?
I said I didn't want to talk about her.
Do you recall Mr. Steele asking you about her multiple times?
Yes.
Did you have any problem with him talking about her?
No, because me and my lawyer had discussed, don't even get frustrated about it.
So is your testimony that you didn't mind Mr. Steele talking about it because you had a conversation with your lawyer about that?
Yes, he just told me to stay focused, and
Okay. All right.
even with you, he just say stay focused and answer the questions.
And tell the truth?
Yes.
All right. When you say you felt forced, would you please tell the jury who it was that forced you to sign, or who you felt forced you, if anyone in particular, to sign anything on December 28, 2022?
I'd say the state, because when I addressed it and tried to change situations, they wouldn't change them. So
And it's still your testimony, is it still your testimony that there were things that you wanted changed that you did not get changed? Is that still your testimony?
Objection asked and answered.
Overruled.
could you repeat it?
Is it still your testimony that there were things you wanted changed in this plea agreement that you did not get changed?
Judge. Your Honor, could I talk to my lawyer right fast?
You may.
I don't want to.
All right, let's just take a recess.
Child, she a little thirsty, y'all. I'm gonna give me some water too.
Thank you. Go ahead, Ms. Love.
Thank you. Mr. Sledge, have you had enough time to speak with your attorney?
Yes,
During the time that you spoke with your attorney, is your attorney the only person that you spoke with?
yes.
All right. Did you speak with any member of the state this weekend?
This weekend?
Yes.
No.
All right. Did you have an opportunity to speak with your attorney this weekend?
Ma'am didn't talk, but
Okay. All right. So did you testify on cross-examination last week that there were portions of the plea agreement that you signed that you asked the state to change, but that the state,
yes, but they changed certain things, but it still was things that I had problem with. From my awareness, once if you call me to the stand, that I would be able to explain the things that they didn't change.
do you recall when I first asked you questions on direct about the April 2015 drive-by shooting that you,
April
Um,
15th.
the April 28th, 2015 drive-by shooting? Do you recall when I asked you about that on direct?
Yes,
Do you recall you told me you did that in your best interest?
could you repeat that? You lost me right now.
Do you remember saying that was in my best interest when I asked you if you pled guilty to the shooting on April 28th, 2015?
Yes,
And do you remember saying that I did that because it was in my best interest multiple times? Do you remember saying that?
you said
Hey y'all, hey, welcome to the video loves. It is your host, Queen Blahma said it. And we are watching the RICO Young Thug trial, you guys. This is day 123. Mr. Antonio Sledge is on the stand still.
that I took the plea in my best interest.
My question is, do you remember?
I don't recall. Mm.
Mr. Sledge,
Okay.
do you remember us talking about your 2015, April 28th, 2015 shooting and that subsequent plea last week? You and me, not anybody else, while you've been on the stand.
You said the 28th drive-by shoot?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
All right. And do you remember I asked you whether you pled guilty to that? Do you remember that?
yes,
And do you remember you told the jury, do you remember telling the jury, well, I did it in my best interest? And
Yes.
this is not a trick question, I promise you.
yes,
All right. And do you remember you said that more than once? I did that in my best interest.
yeah, I remember that part.
Okay. And when you say in your best interest, are you familiar with what is known as an Alford plea?
No, I don't really know what an Alfred plea really mean. I just was saying that I pleaded guilty in my best interest.
And when you say that you pleaded guilty in your best interest, what do you understand that to mean as opposed to just flat out pleading guilty?
Could you repeat it?
I can't.
Cause that was kind of tricky.
Okay. So asked you, did you plead guilty? Would it be unusual for you to just say yes? I pled guilty?
Anything I plead guilty to, I feel like it's in my best interest to plead guilty to.
That plea that you entered in 2017, especially, there was a special designation to it though, right? It was an Alford plea, wasn't it?
I didn't know it was an alpha plea.
When you entered the plea that you entered on December the 28th, 2022, did you recognize the prosecutor asking you questions as the same one talking to you here right now, me?
Yes,
All right. And did you recognize the prosecutor at the table with me as the same one I have my left hand on now, Miss Hilton?
she wasn't in the courtroom when you did the plea. She went somewhere.
Okay. All right. So if we see the video, but we see Miss Hilton's lovely face, you'll recognize Miss Hilton as having been in the courtroom?
I don't remember seeing me here too.
That's fair enough. Do you remember seeing a judge who looked a little different than the one on the stand now?
Yes,
Okay. Do you remember seeing your attorney, Mr. Wright, there sitting with you?
yes.
I went straight to Google. I was just about to tell y'all what it meant also. So yeah, it means that he takes the plea deal and accepts it as guilty, even if he claims he's innocent. He still accepted the plea deal. I've heard of a few people doing that because they like some people's lawyers will tell them, well, basically, if you let it go to trial or whatever, it's a chance they give you life. So you better take the plea. And then that's how people end up taking the plea, even though they said they didn't do it.
Is that the same attorney that you had in 2015?
I don't think I got arrested in 2015, but if I would have, he would have been the one to do the case.
Did you testify on direct examination that Mr. Wright has been your attorney for 15 years?
Yes,
Could you tell the jury when Mr. Wright first started representing you in criminal matters?
I want to say like 08, 09, something like that.
Well, for that man to be your lawyer for over 15 years, you just tell the people you're a criminal. Like, tell the people you're not a criminal without actually telling them you're a criminal.
If I'm not mistaken.
Did you tell the jury on cross-examination that Mr. Wright is someone that you trust?
Yes,
Did you tell the jury on cross-examination that Mr. Wright is someone whose advice and counsel you take seriously?
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember saying like that. You put it in there.
Yeah, she put it in those words, but you agreed to it the other day, bro. I remember them questioning you about your attorney and how long he's been an attorney and if you trust his judgment. I specifically remember that. I don't know if it was on Wednesday or Thursday.
That word.
Would you just tell the jury right now then, how did you feel about the lawyer who's represented you for the last 15 years?
He been great. Oh,
Overruled.
he
Go
been
ahead.
he been great to me.
Okay.
I want to know where she's going with this.
And he was in the room with you when you entered the plea on December 28, 2022?
Yes,
At a criminal trial.
Oh, bro, she about to
I
try to
don't
eat you
understand what
alive.
you're saying.
Do you understand that you are now in a witness box testifying in a criminal trial under oath?
This is my first time knowing that I was a witness to testify up on the oath.
All right. So this is the first time that you've testified in a criminal trial. Is that fair to say?
I ain't gonna say it's probably not my first time, but me knowing that I was gonna be called as a witness, yeah, this is my first time.
All right. do you remember being asked on cross-examination by either
That is
Mr.
that.
Sharp or Mr. Steele?
Yeah, yeah. I'm gonna just say yeah. Yeah, although we know this man been a criminal for 15 years. I'm gonna just say yeah. Yeah to that, because that is true. Mr. Sledge has allegedly been a full-blown criminal for more than 15 years.
I believe it was Mr. Sharp, your friend Shannon's lawyer. Whether you,
Overruled. I think she's just trying to get clear who it is. But we don't need the commentary.
yes, Your Honor. Do you
Yes,
know
Your
who
Honor.
represents your friend Shannon?
Yes, I've been sitting in the courtroom like everyone else.
Which person do you recognize as representing defendant Stillwell?
Mr. Short.
All right. So do you remember Mr. Sharp asking you if on December 28th, 2022, you found yourself between a rock and a hard place?
Yes.
All right. And what did you answer to him regarding December 28th, 2022?
What did I say?
Yeah, what was your answer to that
I
question?
said yes.
And would you tell the jury what the rock was and what the hard place was?
The rock was the situation I was in, and the hard place where my mother was sick,
And when you say the situation you were in,
incarcerated.
Okay.
And
all right. And hopefully, is your mom doing,
no, she deceased.
I'm sorry.
I
So
feel like
did your being in,
I really feel like she knew that already. I just that's why I smacked my lips when she said that. I just Miss Love. sh- mm-mm.
Fulton County Jail have any bearing on your decision to enter that plea that you entered on December 28th, 2022?
Being in Fulton County Jail and away from my mother.
All right. Which one?
She know exactly what she doing. Child. Mm-mm. Him and his lawyer have had discussions about them bringing his mother up and told him to just stay focused and just stay focused. Miss Love knows for a fact that his mother was already she's not no longer here. Mm.
One had the biggest bearing.
Being away from my mother.
All right. So being in Fulton County Jail wasn't a big factor in your entering that plea?
Objection, mischaracterizes his
I'm asking a
testimony.
question.
I didn't hear them both at the same time, so.
I'll rephrase.
All right, she's gonna rephrase.
Mr. Sledge, Fulton County Jail, a large factor in your deciding to enter a guilty plea on December 28, 2022.
Yes, it was, but my mother was bigger.
All right.
Focus. Your lawyer told you. Focus, bruh, because they talking about your mama a lot. That's crazy. Mm-mm-mm.
Is there any reason why during the plea colloquy that the jury heard on Friday, that was played or Monday, last Friday actually,
I think he's wiping tears away.
the plea colloquy
I
that
wanna
the
go back
jury
to the
heard
phone.
on Friday, that was
Yep.
played
See? Mm-mm-mm.
or Monday, last Friday actually, that was played at the end of the state's direct. Is there any reason, or rather, let me ask you, did you ever hold up your hand and tell the court you wanted to make some clarifications?
No, I would have directed it to my lawyer, and whatever you did, but what I wanted, you wouldn't do. You didn't do everything I wanted, which I state.
You were asked by Mr. Steele, your friend, Mr. Williams' attorney, whether or not the state ever sat down and met with you. Do you remember being asked whether the state ever sat down before the June meeting and before you entered that plea agreement and met with you? Do you remember him asking you that?
Yes,
Did the state ever sit down and meet with you?
no,
Did you ever agree to sit down and meet with the state?
I can't agree if the state don't come to me and ask me.
Do you, or has your attorney, or do you have any understanding that the state can't come to you except through your attorney?
No, I didn't know that.
Okay. Did you ever have an understanding that the state wanted to talk to you before you signed the plea agreement on December 28, 2022?
No,
Okay. Did you ever ask your attorney for an opportunity to speak with the state?
no, I ain't never asked them to speak to the state.
Why not?
I don't know. I can't tell you that else. I never asked him to speak with you because that's his job. That ain't my job. That's why I hired him.
Was there anything about the state that made you feel you couldn't speak with the state if you wanted to?
No, but if they would have came to me and asked me to speak with them, with that plea agreement was on there, I would have told them the same thing I told him when I took it. Like, that ain't right. You put you in jail if you have to. So I don't know. Y'all both doing y'all job, I guess.
And so when police spoke with you back in 2015, did you consider them the state as well?
I don't know. I think y'all work in two different departments.
You're right.
Because I don't see the state on the street locking people up. The police, I do.
Okay. So when you spoke with the police back in 2015, did you tell the police any of those things that you told your friend, Defendant Williams' attorney, and your friend, Defendant Stillwell's attorney, when they asked you questions on cross? Did you tell the police any of that stuff?
I don't think they asked me nothing like that.
You
I don't
think
recall.
that-
I don't recall them asking me nothing like that. You said the police?
Yes, sir.
I don't recall them asking me nothing like that. What Mr. Steele asked me.
Do you recall Mr. Steele asking you about that drive-by shooting?
Oh yes,
Do you recall the police asking you about that drive-by shooting?
yes.
How much information did you give the police about that drive-by shooting?
I told the police it wasn't true.
Okay. Now, okay, so, and when I asked you on direct examination about that drive-by shooting, what did you tell me about that drive-by shooting?
I don't recall. You can refresh my memory.
Do you recall me asking you what you did before that shooting?
I don't recall it though.
Do you recall me asking you how did that shooting happen? Yes. I can show you. I can
Go ahead.
respond.
Overruled.
Thank you, Judge. Do you recall me asking you what led to that shooting?
I don't recall.
Do you recall telling me on the stand, or actually telling the jury, because it's not me. Do you recall telling the jury when I asked you on direct that you just went to pick up Mr. Garlington from the club, or that Mr. Garlington had gotten jumped on?
I think I told you I went back and got him from the club. That's what I told you.
And do you recall telling the jury when I asked you questions that you didn't see anybody who jumped on Mr. Garlington?
I told you I didn't know anyone that jumped on Mr. Garlington. The same thing I told them on cross. I didn't know exactly who it was that jumped on.
Did you tell the jury on direct with questioning by me that you didn't see the faces of anyone who jumped on Mr. Garlington?
Yes,
And did you tell the jury that you didn't see the faces of anyone that you may have interacted with during that time?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. May I respond?
Yes.
Your Honor, Mr. Steele cross-examined the witness on this very topic. I believe that it is necessary to orient the witness to the questions I asked before I get into the questions that I want to ask him about what he told Mr. Steele, number one. So it's not a 403 waste of time in any way. And I believe that he made a second objection I'd like to respond to, but I can't remember what it was. It was kind of long. And leading, Your Honor, suggests an answer, and it does not consist of questions that simply require yes or no response.
Overruled. And I'll give you a little leeway, but go ahead and get to what you actually want to get to.
Do you recall telling the jury when I asked you about the drive-by shooting that you never saw a shooting?
I don't recall.
Do you recall telling the jury when I asked you about the drive-by shooting that you just dropped off Demekion and Quindarius and you went on your merry way?
I don't think I said I went on my merry way.
You didn't use merry, that's my words.
Okay, but I remember
just
exactly
went
what you
on.
said. I ain't saying I went on and directly left the scene, but I didn't actually witness them shooting the gun. That's what I said.
Is it your testimony today that on direct examination, you did not tell the jury that you dropped off Quindarius Zachary and Demekion Garlington and left and don't know what they did after you left?
I don't recall that.
Do you recall me asking you about another house getting shot up on Drew Drive after the house on Adele getting shot up?
I don't know in what article. I don't know the addresses.
Do you recall me asking you about whether you saw or participated in any other house getting shot up other than the house off MLK on Adele Drive? Do you recall me asking you that?
I don't recall.
So do you not recall as well telling me that you didn't see any house get shot up?
I don't recall me telling you that I seen house get shot. I don't recall.
Now, what I just heard you say is, I don't recall
Me telling you that.
You don't recall you telling me what, sir?
I just don't recall, Ms. Lowe. I don't recall.
What is it that you don't recall? I'm sorry, I need the jury to know.
I don't recall.
What don't you recall?
I don't recall. I don't recall. You've been pressuring me so much, it's like, I don't even be remembering a lot of stuff you saying.
Is it that you don't recall telling the jury you did not see any houses getting shot up on April 28, 2015?
I don't recall.
Okay, today, do you recall seeing any houses getting shot up on April 28, 2015?
What I'm saying, I didn't see, I'm not saying that I didn't know no shooting was gonna happen, but what I'm saying is I didn't like personally witness the house that you saying that Quindarius Zachary and Garlington shot up. I didn't witness that.
I appreciate that clarification. That's not my question. I'm asking you today to tell this jury whether you recall today seeing any houses, since it's me talking to you, whether you recall any houses getting shot up Do you recall seeing any houses getting shot up on April 28th, 2015? No.
Overruled. So he just told you about the one house. So are you asking about any others?
Yes,
All
I
right,
am.
so ask it that way.
Yeah, you gotta tell me directly what house you talk about, cause when he cross-examined me,
That's not what she's asking.
Oh,
She's
okay.
asking any other houses besides that one.
well, I didn't know I don't know the people that was shooting at the other house.
Okay. All right. Did you see any houses getting shot up? Forget the address. I don't really care what address. Did you see any
And
houses getting shot up on April 28th?
I just don't think that's an appropriate question.
Okay, well, that's not for you to decide. So
Okay,
unless
but
there's an
I'm
objection
saying,
that's sustained, you go ahead and answer the question.
Yes,
You did see some houses getting shot up?
not houses. Now you put more than one. It was one house that I probably seen.
Okay. Tell the jury what house you probably seen get shot up April 28, 2015.
I think it was Lexi. I don't even think it was a house. It was an apartment, if
Tell the
I'm not
jury-
mistaken.
Tell the jury what apartment you saw.
I don't know the name of the apartment.
What can you tell the jury about the apartment?
Where I was dropping Quindary, Miss Zachary off at. That's the one I could tell you about.
So, on Friday, when you talked about dropping off Demekion and Quindarius, weren't you dropping them? Were you dropping them off at the house off MLK on Adale Drive, or was there a different address you were dropping them off at?
I was drunk, Ms. Love. I don't remember which one it was.
Did your memory come back while you were being asked the same question by Mr. Steele?
No,
Do you remember telling Mr. Steele a
I-
whole bunch of stuff about?
I don't think Mr. Steele was the one cross-examining me on that.
Who do you believe was cross-examining you?
I think it was Mr. Short, not Mr. Steele.
Okay. Let's go with that for a moment. Do you remember telling Mr. Short then details about houses that you saw getting shot up on April 28, 2015?
I didn't go here.
Your Honor, I object. I object
Okay, well, can't object to the objection.
to the speaking portion.
All right, so I think she's asked him, if you need to approach, let's approach.
Your Honor, the court
Let me
heard.
look at,
What is the
let's,
court-
come on.
Yeah.
All right, y'all, they are muted again. They're keeping secrets once again that we are not to know. Y'all make sure y'all hit that like button. We are about, I want to say about 3 hours into the RICO trial for Monday, September the 9th. There has been a lot of name dropping of rappers and whatnot. Lorch, they up there gossiping. Okay, she out there. They done. They're finito. All right, here we go.
Thank you, Judge. Mr. Sledge, please tell the jury what you remember today, everything you remember happening with respect to April 28th, 2015, from the time you picked up Mr. Garlington.
Well, love, I've been here 4 days, just I don't know how many hours. I can't remember all that stuff, so I don't recall.
She's not asking you now what you remember testifying to. She's just asking you what you remember about that night.
I don't recall.
When did your memory about it leave you?
I can't answer that question for you, but
I'm sorry?
I can't answer that question. I don't know.
Did you remember it when you were asked questions by Mr. Sharp? Mr. Sledge, please answer the question.
I don't recall.
You do not recall whether you remembered April 28th when you were asked question by Mr. Sharp?
I don't recall.
All right. When you were entering the plea agreement that you entered on December 28th, 2022, did you ever stop and ask the judge or tell the judge you wanted to clarify anything?
No, because I thought my lawyer had already did that.
And when you heard the state read out factual acknowledgments and ask you if they were ever indicate part of them are true, but part of them are not.
I didn't think I could speak that in court
Why did you think you could not speak it in court?
because I ain't thinking like I could just burst out and say that while the judge reading, or while you was reading out, because the judge didn't read it out. I ain't think I can do that. That was never explained to me.
Between December 28th, 2022 and last week, did someone tell you you could burst out while the state was reading something?
No,
Interrupt?
no.
So last week when I was asking you questions and you told the judge I gave you a headache and made your blood pressure go up, you felt comfortable enough? Did you feel comfortable enough to do that?
Because I'm on the stand trying to explain. When you sit back there, you ain't explaining, but when you sitting on this side, you call me here to tell my truth and my understanding. And that's what I'm giving you. I can't give you nothing else. I'm only giving you my truth.
Okay. And so when you were sitting at the table next to your lawyer, did you feel more or less comfortable about giving your truth?
I don't recall.
Do you want to answer the question?
I just answered.
No, I'm asking you, do you want to
I
answer?
want to answer any question that you got for me, but if I don't remember, I don't remember.
And so what is it that you don't recall about being at the table with your lawyer?
I just don't recall, my love. I ain't trying to give you a hard time. But it looked like you trying to give me a hard time.
Mr. Sledge, would you tell the jury as between when you were in court on December 28th, 2022, and when you have been in court for the last 4 days, if there is anything different about parties in the courtroom that you can point out?
No.
So everyone here in the courtroom was in the courtroom with you on December 28th, 2022.
When you say
Relevance.
Your Honor, it goes to changes.
Okay, overruled.
could you repeat it?
Were each of the people now in the courtroom today were,
And yes. ahead, Ms. Love.
Thank you. Just 1 second. Mr. Sledge, would you please tell the jury who is in the courtroom with you today that was not in the courtroom with you on December 28, 2022?
Could you repeat it?
Can you rephrase that? Because that's going to be a whole lot of people. Just get to the point that you want to ask.
Yes. You already said I was here. Was there a court reporter here in the courtroom? Not this one, but a court reporter?
I think so.
Were there deputies?
I think so.
Were there DA investigators?
I think, yes,
Obviously, you said your lawyer was here.
yes.
All right. Was your friend Shannon here?
If you're trying to get to the point.
Mr. Sledge, I'm not trying to get to anything, and I really do need you to just answer the question.
Listen.
So if you could
But
please, Your Honor, if the court would instruct the witness to answer the question,
Listen to the question and answer the question.
And then
that's
you can
asked, And
explain.
then you may explain it.
I would ask
Thank
that
you.
he be allowed to complete his answer.
and Your Honor, since his answer was not responsive,
His answer was not responsive.
I'd ask that you,
Re-ask the question.
was your friend, Mr. Stillwell, here in court with you on December 28, 2022?
No,
Was your friend Defendant Williams here in court with you on December 28, 2022?
no,
Was your friend Defendant Kendrick here in court with you on December 28, 2022?
no,
Was the lawyer for your friend, Mr. Williams, here in court with you on December 28, 2022?
no,
Was the lawyer for your friend, Mr. Stillwell, here in court with you on December 28, 2022?
no,
Was the lawyer for your friend, Mr. Kendrick, here in
Objection.
court with you on December? He
I'm
objected.
saying,
I'll
why you
wait. Hold on,
running
Hang
Mr.
on.
Relevance to whether I was in attendance at the time he took his plea.
Your Honor,
Overruled.
was the lawyer for your friend, Mr. Kendrick, here in court with you on December 28,
But
2022? You can answer first and I will let you explain, but I need you to answer
no,
yes or no.
but could you stop yelling at me like I'm your child or something? I'm not your child.
You are not.
You talking aggressive to me. You don't intimidate me, all them guys over here. So if you would have came to me and asked me that, I'd have told you the same thing. What if they was in my face or not in my face? I'm not scared of them or you.
I don't want you to be.
Well, that's what you acting like it. That's what you
Okay.
acting like you're trying to
So
pay.
do you want me to bring my voice down? And I apologize if
Don't
it
holler at
sounds
me,
like
'cause I
I'm
ain't your
yelling.
child. Can I take a break? Y'all talk.
No, we've had so many breaks this
Yeah,
morning. We
because
really need to get
I'm-
through this.
All right. So, Mr. Sledge, was either Quay that is in the courtroom here today in the courtroom with you on December 28, 2022?
No,
Was Lil Rod in the courtroom with you on December 28, 2022?
get to your point. No,
That is my point.
your point is.
Okay. Was the lawyer for Mr. Huey Quay in court with you on December 28, 2022?
No,
Was the lawyer for Quamarius Nichols in court with you on December 28, 2022?
no,
Was the lawyer for Little Rod in court with you on December 28, 2022?
I don't know if that's been asked and answered or not.
It was not.
Okay, well, go ahead if you say it was.
Was the lawyer for
No.
Little Rod
no,
on cross-examination? Defendant Stillwell's attorney, Mr. Sharp, asked you about Shell Kell and Antrevia. Do you remember that?
I don't recall.
All right. When did you lose recollection of what happened 3 days ago?
I don't recall.
Are all of your answers to every question I asked from now on going to be, I don't recall?
Yes,
Why?
because I don't recall.
And what caused you to lose your memory?
You put so much pressure on my brain, I don't forgot everything. I can't remember all this stuff that been asked to me for the last 4 days. It's like, it's confusing. So I'm not, like you said, I completed the 9th grade. I'm not that intelligent to be remembering all this stuff that you keep asking me. My brain just everywhere. I might need to go see somebody after this court time.
Mr. Sledge, did you have any problem at all understanding the questions asked to you about Brian Steele?
I don't recall.
Right. Did you lose your memory at any point with Mr. Steele?
He wasn't pressuring me like you. He was helping me. He was explaining to me. He was breaking down. But it seemed like
I appreciate what you're saying. I'm gonna respond to that.
Objection.
Mr.
The witness should be allowed to answer the question.
Were you finished with your answer?
no, she cut me off.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, please.
I said, Mr. Steele was explaining to me he wasn't pressuring me, but every time it seems like I'm getting up in with you, I'm giving you my truth, and you still trying to pressure me to say something you want me to say when I'm giving you the truth that I know.
Mr. Sledge, do you understand that there's a difference between the way that a
I don't-
prosecutor can ask you questions and the way that a defense attorney can ask you questions?
No,
Do you understand that I cannot lead you when I'm asking you questions?
it's
Sustained.
When you say that there's a difference between the way that Mr. Steele asks you questions and the way that I ask you questions, would you help me understand what that difference is so that I can ask you questions in a way that does not frustrate you?
Oh, well, and he kind of has told you.
she ain't said it. She said you overruled.
Ask your next question.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So will you help me break things down a little bit so that I'm not frustrating you? Okay. I understand.
I don't even
Can we rewind?
know.
All right. When you were asked about Antrevia, was Shell Kell the person you said who had also started a relationship with Antrevia after you?
I don't recall.
What is confrontational about that question?
I just don't recall.
Why don't you recall?
Because you pressured me. I don't recall. You heard my brain.
All right, so let's take an early lunch and you can get calm down in the meantime, hopefully, and then we will come back. Let's see, it's almost 11:15. Let's come back at 12:30.
Yes, Your Honor, thank you.
Anything anybody needs to put on the record before we break for lunch? And I sure do. I didn't think about the fact that the trays may or may not be here yet, but they'll be here in enough time.
Your Honor, may
So-
we be permitted to remain at the table during lunch, or does the court
You-
require that we leave?
What now?
May we remain at the table during lunch, or does the court require that we leave?
No, you can stay here if you want to.
Thank you.
All right, so we're on our lunch recess. We'll see everybody back at 12:30.
All right, y'all. They are on a lunch recess for about 30 more minutes. We are at 2 hours exactly. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap this live up. Y'all make sure y'all smack that likety like button on the way out. I will be back when recess is over. Bye, y'all.